Travel back in time to 2011. Buy an iPod Touch and listen to Section 80 before frat bros find out about it. Buy a bunch of Bitcoin. Post about the royal wedding on Google+. Go to an Urban Outfitters store. Walk past the t-shirts with classic video game references and the coffee table books about pot truffles. Go around the guy who's going on and on and on about how vinyl sounds so much better than MP3 while manhandling a record player that costs less than an entree at Red Lobster. Walk up to the wall covered with multicolored cameras that passes for a quote-unquote electronics section and pull this box off the shelf. This is the Lomography Fisheye One. When this camera was introduced in 2005, it was new, but it was also old. It was built by a company that was barely getting off the ground, targeted at a new generation of proto-hipsters and kids who don't know how to distinguish real life from the picture on the side of an Abercrombie & Fitch bag. It was also already a neon-colored fossil, a film camera specifically designed to mimic the flair and foibles of old cheap point-and-shoots from the 80s Eastern Bloc, built at a time when Canon, Nikon, Pentax, and virtually every other mainstream camera brand had given up on film for good. Like your cool uncle who still gets high on weekends, the Lomography One thrives at petting zoos and dark bar parties on nights that one day you'll look back on and think of as the good old days, but don't know it yet. Let's talk specifics. It's a hunk of plastic, built around a ribbed f8 fixed 10mm fisheye lens with a 170-degree field of view. It's got an unpredictable flash powered by a AA battery, and it only shoots at 1/100th of a second. As you might expect for a camera that costs $70 new, the lens is extremely soft. When the light comes in from the side, you see the edges of the lens housing illuminated like you're viewing the world through a toilet paper tube or hunting German U-boats periscopically in the Atlantic front of a Deadmau 5 concert. It's finicky, like a cat that you're babysitting that doesn't trust you yet and sometimes vomits on your pleather couch. It took me 15 minutes to load the film in properly the first time that I used it because the film catch is so microscopically small. I kept worrying that I wasn't actually advancing the film whenever I cranked the winder, although to be fair, I never did have an issue. What I'm saying is this camera makes blurry, wildly distorted photos that feel more like failing with style than getting the photo you actually wanted. It's one of those cameras that bills itself as a creator of happy accidents, which is marketer speak, of course, for a camera that is more likely to get you a picture of double-exposed Converse sneakers than a blowing out the candles birthday shot. But nitpicking the Fisheye One for quality is like criticizing Nicolas Cage for overacting. It's fun. You don't need to overthink it, even though that is exactly what I'm doing right now. It'll keep you entertained for a weekend, and you can probably find it on eBay for under $15. But there's another side to this beanie-wearing, cold brew drinking coin. This little toy, this silly claw machine prize of a camera, is the harbinger for Instagram and all the mobile photography trends we love/hate/love to hate today. Filters, retro style, Anthony Weiner's sexting, it all starts here. Here's what I mean. Go back to 2004. Listen to Hot Fuss by The Killers or Medulla by Bjork. Catch Ocean's 12 in theaters. Call me and tell me to buy Bitcoin in 4 years. At that time, Lomography was 10 years old and their main business was distributing Russian-made Lomo LCAs based on a deal they struck with, not a joke, Vladimir Putin. But then, the Lomo factory shut down. Lomography wasn't ready to give up on their little adventure, so like every Kickstarter campaign ever, they went looking for a manufacturer in China. When they found one, they started working on a replacement for the shuttered LCA, but before they released that, they unveiled this, the Lomo Fisheye One. It technically wasn't the first camera that Lomography had ever produced, but it may as well have been, and it was the first camera they'd introduced in at least 5 years. It was also the one that sparked a decade of regular product launches. After the Fisheye One in 2005, there was the LCA Plus in 2006, the Diana F Plus in 2007, the Lubitel TLR in 2008, and the Diana F Plus Mini in 2009. These were the years when Lomography got the partnership with Urban Outfitters that propelled them to national prominence. Suddenly, retro-style images and toy camera lo-fi looks were both cool and accessible. Software designers who were trying to make up for the iPhone 4's shitty camera noticed pretty quickly in 2010 that you could cover up the muddy garbage of phone pictures with a fat stack of vignettes and light leaks and fake scratches, just like the toy camera pictures that were so popular at the time, to make the images look stylized instead of repulsive. And that's the origin of the filter. An attempt to mimic the look of old, intentionally faulty film cameras, like the ones that Lomography was selling. It wasn't art or homage, it was to make iPhone pictures palatable. This was done successfully first by Hipstamatic in 2010, which was 100% blatant in its adoption of the tropes of retro photography, and followed shortly thereafter by the gangbusters success of Instagram. That's why you can say that, in its own small way, this camera, the Lomography Fisheye One, helped to define the aesthetic landscape of the social media generation, and therefore, all of our personal lives for the past decade. And that's pretty good for a hunk of plastic.